So the first thing I do, I've got a block of watercolour paper, just cut this off with a palette knife, which I have with the brushes. So that comes off. That's the bit I don't need. I always have one of those as well. They're useful for scratching and stuff. And then I've got the paper, which is, I always think it's like a swimming pool that nobody's been in yet, which is perfect, you're about to dive into. Right, so unlike some artists, I'll establish a few things with pencil first, just so I know where things are going to be. And then I can apply paint, and then all the risks and everything else can happen afterwards, happens within a kind of controlled framework. So I'm just going to draw this kind of strange facade here at the mill. That's what kind of interests me. These funny little lines and these amazing Victorian towers. Working in pencil beforehand is also a way of allowing you some thinking time before you actually start painting. I could carry on, but I'm going to leave it at that now because I like to do the rest in paint. That's all I need. I know where everything roughly is. The rest of it I'll just have to hope to get right by accident. The first thing I want to put in is a flag. The sky is gonna, it's the only note of bright colour, and the sky has to go around it. So it's moving, which means it's actually impossible to paint. So you just make a few marks. And before I get close to that with paint, I've got to really let it dry. I've got this absolutely flat blue sky, which was full of amazing clouds earlier, but I'm going to go with what's there. And I can just attack it with this blue. I use hot press paper because it kind of lets all this show, all the little lines where you do get tide marks and the paint runs into itself. It's kind of, you can see all that when the paint dries, but I like all that. Putting in some of the architecture now. Artists are always trying to control things and get things right, but it's very healthy to think you just do something, you follow it as it goes along, you follow the little journey. So I'm drawing these delicate little railings on the balustrade. I thought they were purple, but now they're looking brown, so I'll do a few brown ones. The perception of things changes. Right here I've decided there's brickwork. There's a lot of funny, but once I start looking in the shadows, there's all this stuff going on. When you stare long enough, it's it's purpley. There's a lot of colour in there. Once you start using watercolour, you'll get into the habit of using a lot. You suddenly start to see things differently. Now I put that yellow on, I think, oh, there's this kind of yellowy tinge to some of the brickwork here. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing, just to see what happens with this brickwork. It's a little journey, and with watercolour more than anything, you do have to go with the flow of it and follow the paint and the little accidents and ignore your little mistakes and the things that disappear. You're not totally in control, so you get a little surprise, and the picture's a little surprise, which is nice. It teaches you to sort of to let go. It's like going down a hill on a bike with not very good brakes or something. I'm just going to take a little risk because I wanted that to blend in and it didn't. So I'm just going to, now I painted the white, the shadow, I'm going to put another little layer in. But it is paint, so you've got to allow it to be itself. But that might have worked a little bit, and it's created and you've got a richer colour now, because that's two layers of colour and one colour working against another. You should use good watercolour paper because you get a lovely translucency, and like what I'm doing now, I don't like what I just did then, it kind of was a mess. So having said it's all risky, you can attack it, and good paper can take it. And I'm almost done, and if I took longer than this, everything would change so much, it would almost be like a different subject. Well, for me, it's not a moment, but it's capturing a kind of an hour or an hour and a half where things are reasonably stable, but there is some change and movement. It's still alive. It's quite healthy for all artists should use watercolour because it doesn't behave the way it should, and it's difficult Unforgiving. Just while the paint's still wet, I've got a chance to draw into it. Stubborn kind of medium you could possibly use.